Treyarch has widely been seen for a long time as the golden child of Call of Duty. They're the studio that has probably been the most popular, I would say, throughout it. But then again, maybe not, because I think Sledgehammer has the ear on the community the most. But that's a different topic for a different day. I have my own opinions. Treyarch tends to have the most positively received games in Call of Duty these days. But at the end of the day, they're not perfect. Today we're going to take a look, an updated look, at what I think are the 10 worst Treyarch maps in COD history. So you guys let me know in the comments what you think the worst Treyarch maps ever released are. Drop a like. And at number 10, Toshen? Is it Toshen or Toshen? Black Ops 7. Look, you guys know I'm not playing this game, but if there's one thing I know about BO7, everybody hates this T map. And I do remember playing this game early on in Black Ops 7's life cycle. It was a launch map, and I have to say pause because this map's not good. There's so much going on here. Honestly, feels more like an Infinity War map than a Treyarch one, and I do mean that, I guess, is kind of an insult. I'm feeling mean today. That's not right, right? There's so many windows, so many random alleyways, so many camping spots. I have no clue how you're supposed to establish any kind of game flow here. It's not a good map. It's a perfect way to kick off today's list of absolutely terrible Treyarch maps.
Have you ever thought you could predict the future? Well, now's your chance. Today's video is powered by Kalshi.com, the only place to trade on events legally in all 50 states, and you can use the market to understand what's going on in the world. Let me give you an example. James Bond. It's a huge IP, and everybody wants to know who's going to be the next James Bond. It's as important of a casting as there's ever been in a movie franchise. Well, on Kalshi, we can predict and trade on who's going to be the next James Bond. We have Callum Turner, we have Jacob Elordi, and we have Aaron Taylor Johnson, the three in the front running spots. So to me, I'm going to go with the trends. I'm going to go with Callum Turner is going to be the next James Bond. It doesn't stop there. You could trade on whether or not Sadie Sink is going to be the next Jean Grey in Spider-Man. You can trade on whether or not Avengers Doomsday will be delayed or not. Or if you're really peering into the future, you could trade on whether or not GTA 6 will release before 2027. We could take it further. Will we get the next GTA trailer before May 27th? Well, you can trade on it if you think you know. Click our link in the description to check out the James Bond actor market and all of these markets yourself and get $10 when you trade $10. Any Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5 fans out there? I've been using the platform, and let's just say I've got my eyes on both of these. Again, guys, use our link in the description to trade on any of these markets, and it's the pinned comment. If there's a market out there, it's probably on Kalshi, and get $10 when you trade $10.
At number 9, Metro and Black Ops 3. Now, I think this map was supposed to be the successor to Express from Black Ops 2, right? But it wasn't good. I mean, Express was a good map because there was 3 distinct lanes. There was the train that would zoom through the middle of the map every minute or so, but it would never completely stop the match because the map itself was dynamic enough to work around the train. Meanwhile, Metro was dependent on the midsection of the map, and that meant whenever the train came through the middle of the map, the entire match would come to a grinding halt, a standstill, until the train ran its course. And you know what? That's not fun. I don't know if it's a controversial take to say, but the entire match completely stops every couple minutes because there's a freaking train running through the middle of the map and insta-killing anyone it touches. Yeah, I don't think that makes for a fun Call of Duty map experience at all. Do you know, or do you think that makes for a fun Call of Duty map? No, I don't think you do. I'm going to speak for you guys on this one. Nobody liked the map. Let's move on. At number 8, Armada and Black Ops Cold War. For those that don't remember, let me take you back. This was a map that had a bunch of warships in the middle of the ocean. The whole gimmick was that you would jump between them, grab little motorboats, shoot other players. It honestly felt like a small Battlefield map. And I don't think that was a good thing here. People play COD to feel like they're playing COD, not Battlefield. I don't mean that as a dig against Battlefield, because here's the thing. It's not like this would have been a good Battlefield map either. It was just way too big and way too random because the size made it so you never knew where the heck anybody was or what you should do first. Do you hunker down on the ship you spawned in? Do you try to progress to another ship? Do you jump into the water and try to swim your way to the other team? There was literally no way to know what you were supposed to do because you never knew where anybody was. I don't think this was a good map. At number 7, Crisis, Black Ops 1. This map was too big, way too big, and way too campaign-like to get any positive attention. Crisis truly felt like an entire campaign mission that was slapped into multiplayer playlist, and it wasn't a good time. I mean, the Wager Match playlist could literally cut this map in half when you load it in. So even Treyarch knew themselves there was a major problem with the size, and yet they kept the 6v6 version of it completely the same as it was on day one, regardless of how not fun this thing was to play. About 40% of the map was entirely unused. The remaining 60% of the map It was not fun. Too many random corners, buildings, the flow was all over the place. The spawn engine had no idea what to do with you or itself due to the massive size of the map. It's easily the worst map in the original Black Ops and certainly one of the worst maps Treyarch's ever designed. Don't worry, Black Ops 6, I'm not going to leave you out. Lowtown. This map truly feels like a Modern Warfare 2019 map, but thrown into Black Ops 6 for whatever reason I can't figure out. Lowtown features a bunch of random buildings. Waterfronts for you to swim through. No proper battle lines. Spawn in, run across the map, get killed by somebody sitting in a window you couldn't have ever possibly seen because you couldn't before you got too close, or you spawn in, you run around the map, jump into the water, swim around, jump out of the water because you think you just pulled off an epic flank and then get instantly killed because the water is placed in a really annoying spot on the map where everyone can see you coming, so there's no point in actually swimming. I think that's the most annoying part of the map. The fact that so much of it is based around the water, and yet the water seems to be the most, it just puts you at a disadvantage in the map. Nobody could get in the water and swim. Even if you were to replace the water with flat ground, the map would still suck. It was a bad map all the way around. Too many vantage points, way too many random power positions, and legitimately, like I said, no battle lines. Now we arrive at the top 5. Exodus, Black Ops 3. Exodus only... it wasn't that bad of a map, but it was widely seen as one of the worst maps in Black Ops 3 because it was so buggy and it was unfinished. I mean, despite the layout being perfectly acceptable, to me, you never knew when the map was going to crash your entire game or kick you out of the lobby or drop you through the floor, any random number of stupid things that could happen. Layout wasn't bad, frankly. I'd even say the layout was B tier at the worst, but the reason why so many people hated the map was because it would literally break your game when you load it in, and it took Treyarch way too long to fix that problem. I mean, if any map that breaks your game is going to get a pretty high spot on the most hated list of Treyarch maps, it's Exodus. At number 4, Aftermath. Black Ops 2, another map that really felt like a campaign mission thrown into multiplayer. One of the launch maps in Black Ops 2. I'm convinced the only way to enjoy this map was in one of the non-respawn modes like S&D. Aftermath was a complete mess of a map. The spawns were some of the worst in COD history. It did not matter how safe the spawn looked or how you felt because the map itself was working against you at every turn. So you would be running around and getting killed by somebody sitting in a dark corner that you couldn't have countered. And then you'd respawn, get back into the action, only to get killed by that same someone in a random hallway. They moved slowly and methodically. You didn't think to check it because the map had so many random alleyways you would never know where to look. Aftermath honestly felt like a Modern Warfare 2019 map. Again, I'm digging, I know, but it was put in Black Ops 2. It's kind of baffling to me because Black Ops 2 had a bunch of the best maps in COD history. Who the heck designed this one? Who the heck actioned it? Who the heck kept it in the game during all the testing phases of the development? Seriously. Somebody should have seen how crap this map was. Cut it from the game. Got it out of there. There was no improving something like this. The only way to make Aftermath better was to delete it. At number 3, Cartel. Black Ops Cold War. I remember when this map was first shown off in the beta. Everybody hated it because the entire middle section of the map was covered in neck-high plants and bushes that made visibility impossible. Then when the game came out, Treyarch, they took a lawnmower and they took a weed eater, they trimmed the hedges and made the midsection a lot easier to see. And you know what? It still wasn't good. Cartel wasn't a good map with or without vegetation. The fact that the whole thing is on a hill means the lower section is always going to be at a disadvantage compared to the other lanes, and the spawns weren't good there. It went way too far from the action. It seems like no matter where you were, you don't know where everyone else is. A core part of the COD game flow to me is being able to figure out where the heck everyone is and what you should do to compensate for that. But Cartel, it just felt random no matter where you were, which didn't make it a very fun gameplay experience regardless of what mode you were playing. It's a crap map. It is. Number 3 for a reason. At number 2, Red Card, Black Ops 6, the map that's set in a soccer stadium. It's terrible. It's terrible. Largest 6v6 map in Black Ops 6, and I think I kind of see what Treyarch was going for in terms of the layout and the game flow, but in practice, it just wasn't the same. It was bad, slow, painful. It was a bad experience. Red Card is way too freaking big for the kind of gameplay that Black Ops 6 designed this around, and there's just too much open space. That means people just sit around in the corners and wait for people to walk into their line of sight. And even if you're not sitting in the corners, Red Card has way too much open space for it to actually work as a fast-paced Call of Duty map. And before you say, Jimmy, Call of Duty doesn't have to be fast-paced, you're technically right. But also, this is Black Ops 6. BO6 was literally designed around super fast movement and combat. So when you have a map like Red Card, which feels like it belongs in Ghost or COD 4, what you end up with is a janky, unnatural, unfun, and pointless experience that nobody can actually enjoy. To me, it's the worst map in Black Ops 6, deserving the number 2 spot. And at number 1 today, Miami. Black Ops Cold War. To me, it's not a hard pick at all. Miami is gorgeous, stunning, some of the most beautiful visuals that COD has ever had to offer. Also has some of the worst game flow you could ever ask in a COD game, and I still have no clue
how it got signed off on with a layout like this. It's a ridiculous layout, does nothing but encourage absolute complete absurdity in the game flow, and a large part of that comes down to the simple fact you can't see the enemy team on about 60% of the map. The lighting's dark, the layout's bad, the spawns are terrible. Even though the vibes are some of the best in the franchise, the game flow was bad. Miami gave me such a bad first impression of Black Ops Cold War, and even though it looks gorgeous, I would argue it's the worst Treyarch map in COD history. The Strike version of the map is infinitely better, but the original version is completely terrible with absolutely no redeeming qualities. It is the worst Treyarch map in COD history. You will not convince me otherwise, but you can try because I read every single comment on every single video, and I'm out. Bye.